Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. In our previous discussion, we spoke about how Pradyumna Mishra went to Sri Ramananda Rai. He initially went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he wanted to hear Harikatha, and Mahaprabhu directed him towards Ramananda Rai because Mahaprabhu said, I myself um, heard and got nourished by Ramananda Rai. So we find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to the South India Yatra, and that's where he meets Ramananda Rai. So Mahaprabhu directs Pradyumna Mishra, and we find that Ramananda Rai and Pradyumna Mishra have a conversation. The whole day they have a conversation such that um, समय कैसे निकल गया पता ही नहीं चला. They did not even realize how the whole day they ended up discussing the Katha of the Supreme Lord. So that's the section where we ended yesterday. Thereafter, Pradyumna Mishra met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and profusely thanked him. My Lord, I am obliged and sold out to you life after life because you have drowned me in a nectarian ocean of Krishna Katha spoken by Ramananda Rai. He is not an ordinary human. He is fully absorbed in Krishna Bhakti Rasa. He told me, don't consider me the speaker of Krishna Katha. It was all personally spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I am like a stringed instrument that vibrates whatever he causes me to speak. We find the same analogy is given in the Rai Ramananda Samvad also when Mahaprabhu is talking to Ramananda Rai. So at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Ramananda Rai that you speak so well. And Ramananda Rai says, no, my dear Lord, you are making me speak. It is like I am the instrument, but you are the instrument player. Suppose I'm the guitar, then there's a person who has to play the guitar. If the guitar is just there and if the person doesn't play, then the guitar doesn't have कोई फायदा ही नहीं है उस गिटार का. But if there's a person who plays it, whether it's a guitar or a sitar or mridanga, harmonium, kartal or whatever, then it's the person who's playing it who's adding more flavor to it. So Ramananda Rai said, my dear Lord, I am the stringed instrument and you are the person who's playing the instrument. So you have the credit. So it externally looks like I'm speaking, but my dear Lord, you are making me speak. Hmm? Prabhu, tumi vakta, tumi shrota. My dear Lord, you're only asking questions. You're only the speaker. So like that. So here also Ramananda Rai gives the same example to Pradyumna Mishra that I am not speaking. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is empowering me to speak. It is Mahaprabhu's mercy. So the devotee is giving the credit to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the credit to Ramananda Rai. The devotee is giving the credit to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is giving the credit to the devotee. And we see all the time that it is the Lord who empowers the devotee to do anything. But when it's the time for taking credit, all the credit goes to the devotee. Anytime anyone is empowered to do anything, it is the Supreme Lord who's empowering. He empowers the devotee, but when it's time for taking credit, he gives it fully to the devotee. He doesn't take any credit. Mhm. Building of ISKCON, it is Krishna who empowers Srila Prabhupada, and the credit completely goes to Srila Prabhupada. Mother Yashoda ties Krishna. It is Krishna who's empowering Mother Yashoda, but the glory goes to Mother Yashoda. It is Ramananda Rai, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who's empowering Ramananda Rai to speak, but the credit completely goes to Ramananda Rai. That, oh, Ramananda Rai spoke this. So time and again we see that the devotee prays to the Lord for empowerment, and when the Lord empowers and the devotee does supernatural tasks, the credit is not taken by the Lord. The credit he gives fully to that devotee. And where does that empowerment, where does that Shakti come from? Empowerment is nothing but Shakti. Where does that empowerment or Shakti come from? It comes from Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. The Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, my Shakti, that is empowerment. Where have I invested my Shakti? Namna Makari. I've invested my Shakti in different names of mine. मेरे भिन्न भिन्न नाम है और उन नामों में जो शक्ति है या empowerment is there. I've invested that in the holy name. So if anyone is empowered in this world, it is only because they've taken shelter of Nam Namakari, the different names of the Supreme Lord, or primarily holy name. So empowerment in Kali comes through the chanting of the holy name. And Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Sakhi. So he's definitely very, very empowered. He in Gaura Lila, he comes as Vishaka, he comes as Ramananda Rai. In Krishna Lila is anyway there is Vishaka Sakhi. And in Krishna Lila and Gaur Lila, he is also there as Yamuna, the river Yamuna. So Yamuna Devi is also expansion of Vishaka Sakhi. So we find that Vishaka Sakhi is serving in different ways and different moods for the Supreme Lord. Mhm. And this month is particularly little special because Krishna one time had a desire, and that desire was to serve Srimati Radharani. So he went to Vishaka Sakhi and said, my dear Vishaka Sakhi, can I serve Srimati Radharani? Vishaka Sakhi said, you can, but for that you have to first learn how to serve. आप सेवा कर सकते हैं लेकिन पहले ये तो जान लीजिए कि सेवा करना कैसा है, right? Because if suppose it's in a temple and if it's a cooking seva, a cooking seva at home will be a little different from the cooking seva in the temple, because at home you're making for maybe two, three, four people. But in a temple, you're making for Sunday feast, which is like hundreds of people. So your salt and your container and kitna kya dalna hai, all this you have to learn from someone who has been doing it. And so the same goes for maybe deity worship. The home deities, the Gaurnita that we have, उनको कपड़ा पहनाना बहुत आसान है. बट वही मंदिर की यदि श्री विग्रह है, गौरनित है, बड़े बड़े, तो फिर उनको कपड़ा ना पहनाना इज मोर डिफिकल्ट. सो यू हैव टू लर्न इट फर्स्ट फ्रॉम समवन हु इज एक्सपीरियंस्ड. So Vishaka Devi says, Krishna, you can serve Radharani, but first get some training. So even if you're Bhagavan, you have to first be trained. So Krishna says, okay, what should I do? Vishaka Sakhi. The reason Krishna goes to Vishaka Sakhi is Vishaka Sakhi, Raghunath Das Goswami says, Vishaka Sakhi is the preeminent Siksha Guru for everyone in the spiritual world. Just like we have Diksha and Siksha Gurus in this world, similarly, Vishaka Sakhi is a Siksha Guru for everyone in the spiritual world. अर्थात अ, जब भी कोई भागवत धाम जाता है, गोलोक धाम जाता है और ठाकुर जी की सेवा करना चाहता है, Then they get trained under Vishaka Sakhi. She is the Siksha Guru there. Hmm? She may directly train or she may send you to someone who can train you. But she is like the preeminent Siksha Guru. So that's why Krishna goes to Vishaka Sakhi. And Vishaka Sakhi says, first, uh, go to all the gopis and all the manjaris who are there and learn different arts, different skills that they have. उनसे सीख कर आइए. So Krishna says, okay. So every time Krishna goes in the morning to tend his cows, to herd his cows, Krishna goes to Ter Kadam and Krishna goes to so many places. So Mother Yashoda feels that Krishna has gone for cow herding. But in the time that the cows are eating grass, Krishna is busy learning different arts, different skills from these different gopis and manjaris so that he can learn and serve Srimati Radharani. So Krishna ends up learning 365 arts like that from the gopis and manjaris. How many arts did he learn from Sandipani Muni? 64. How much did he learn from the gopis of Vrindavan? 365. So the gopis of Vrindavan could teach Krishna more than what Sandipani Muni could. When Srila Radharan Swami Maharaj was asked that why is it that Krishna learned only 64 arts from Sandipani Muni, Srila Radharan Swami Maharaj said that it is because Sandipani Muni could teach only that much. What he knew, he taught Krishna. It's not that Krishna could learn only that much. Sandipani Muni knew only that much, 64. And what he knew, he taught. But the gopis of Vrindavan ended up teaching Krishna more than 365 arts, and Krishna learned all of that. And Krishna came back to Vishaka Sakhi and said, my dear Vishaka Sakhi, can I now serve Srimati Radharani? Vishaka Sakhi said, no, there is some little more training that you have to do. And then um, Vishaka Sakhi said, my dear Krishna, all these cows that are there in the land of Sri Vrindavan Dham, you have to serve very diligently all the cows. Because cows are considered mother, they're go mata. So you have to take the blessings of all the cows. And Krishna is anyway doing it. But taking the instruction of Vishaka Sakhi, Krishna serves all the cows. When he comes back to Vishaka Sakhi and says, my dear Vishaka Sakhi, now can I serve Radharani? Vishaka Sakhi says, you can. Hmm? So Krishna goes to a place called as Shringar in the land of Vrindavan. And he tries to braid the hair of Srimati Radharani. Bal banana. So he tries to braid the hair of Srimati Radharani. That's the famous photo that we would have seen where Radharani is sitting and Krishna is braiding the hair and Radharani has a mirror in front of her. That happened at Shringar. And that is when Krishna, that pastime happened after Krishna learned all these arts from different gopis and different manjaris. And then finally he tries to implement that service on Srimati Radharani. And all this happened in this month that is going on right now, in the month of Vaishak. So this is the month of Vaishak that's going on. And we find that Krishna is called as Keshav. भगवान का एक नाम है केशव. Why? One understanding is because he killed the demon Keshi. जो केशी का वध किए उनका नाम है केशव. लेकिन ब्रज में एक अलग अर्थ है. In Vrindavan, he's also called as Keshav because he is that personality who decorates the Kesha of Srimati Radharani. जो राधारानी के केश का श्रृंगार करे उनका नाम पड़ता है केशव. He who decorates the kesh or the hair of Sri Radha is called Keshav. So in this month, he got the name Keshav because he was decorating the hair of Srimati Radharani. And Vishaka Sakhi tells Krishna also that all these cows that are there, you take all the milk from the cows and learn to make sweet rice. And have that sweet rice as an offering to Srimati Radharani. So इसलिए in this month Krishna attempted to make sweet rice as an offering to Srimati Radharani, and that is why it is also said that in this month it is very good that if someone can make sweet rice as an offering to the Lord, because Krishna himself made sweet rice for Srimati Radharani. So Then Krishna looked at Vishaka Sakhi and said, now I have learnt all the arts from all of the gopis and manjaris, and I have learned how to serve Srimati Radharani. So between you and I, everything is similar, but the only difference is I am bluish black in complexion and you're golden in color. All of you all are golden in color, but I am bluish black in color. How wonderful it will be if my color is also same. इतना कुछ बदलाव आ गया है जिंदगी में, तो क्यों ना हम देह की जो कांति है इसका भी बदलाव कर दे. This, if this also changes, then it will be perfect. So Vishaka Sakhi said, wonderful, good idea. You are now for the service of Radharani, you are wanting to change everything, very good. And Vishaka Sakhi says, go and accept or drink the milk of the cows of Vrindavan. Because in the land of Vrindavan, we have different cows for their different colors. There are cows that are reddish in color. They are called as kumkumi because kumkum is red. So these Krishna has named the cow as kumkumi because they're red in color. Then there are cows that are yellow in color. So Krishna has named them Chandani because Chandani and yellow. Then there are cows like Hasini, Harini, Kalindi, different cows that Krishna has given. Then there's a cow called as Mridanga Mukhi. Krishna is called this cow Mridanga Mukhi because Krishna feels the face of this cow is like a mridanga. Krishna says, आपका जो मुख है ना ये मृदंग के समान है तो आपका नाम है मृदंग मुखी. So Krishna does like initiation, name giving ceremony for these cows, and he gives his name, whatever names he feels, he gives to these cows. So Vishaka Sakhi says, these cows that are there, go and drink their milk. And our acharyas explain that the milk that is there that comes from the cow, at least maybe not, I'm not sure now, but during the time of Krishna and the land of Vrindavan, we are talking about 5,000 years in the back, milk was more yellowish in color, more white, but little more towards a yellowish tinge. So Vishaka Sakhi said, go and drink the milk of uh, these cows of Vrindavan. So Krishna says, okay. So now Krishna is following everything that Vishaka Sakhi is saying. Krishna goes and drinks the milk of these cows of Vrindavan. Up until this time, whatever Mother Yashoda would milk the cows, and she would milk all the 9,99,999 cows that they had. Mother Yashoda would milk all these cows, and then she would give it to a few set of cows, and then to a few set of cows, and then to a few set of cows, and finally it would come to that one cow, and when that cow would give milk, that would be given to Krishna. But now, following the instructions of Vishaka Sakhi, Krishna is now drinking the milk of these cows of Vrindavan that are a little yellowish in color. And drinking the color of the cows of Vrindavan, our acharyas explained, Krishna, who had already learned now the art of serving Srimati Radharani, only thing that was pending was the bluish black color. Now, by the blessings of these cows of Vrindavan, who give milk that are a little yellowish in color, Krishna's bodily complexion also turned more towards yellow or primarily more golden. And that was the first hint of Gaura Avatar in Krishna Lila. Hmm? A hint of Gaura Chandra while Krishna Chandra's pastimes were happening. So all this happened in this month of Vaishak. That is why this month is also called as Keshavrat. This month is also called as Keshavrat. Why? Because Keshava did the vrat of pleasing and serving Srimati Radharani. Like but tying her hair, washing her clothes, storing her clothes, ironing her clothes. Krishna learned all this. राधारानी की सेवा करने के लिए भगवान इतने इच्छुक है कि सब कुछ सीखने के लिए तैयार है. So we find that Krishna is completely subservient at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So our Gaudiya, the ultimate understanding of the mood of the Gaudiyas is we worship Krishna only so that we can eventually worship the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Gaudiyas are sold out servants at the lotus feet of Radharani. Like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was doing parikrama of Radha Kund, there was a king of Jaipur who was also there at that time. So the king of Jaipur was offering obeisances to Radha Kund. So the disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he saw this and said, Gurudev, how wonderful. He's the king of Jaipur and he's offering obeisances to Radha Kund. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, yes, very good. But there is a difference in mood that he has, and there's a difference in mood between him and us. What is the difference in mood? Srila Saraswati Thakur said, for him, Krishna is everything. And because Radharani is connected to Krishna, he offers obeisances. He has a respect. But Saraswati Thakur said, for us, Radharani is everything. And because Krishna runs around Radharani to get her attention, we offer our respects to Krishna also. But for us, it is completely Srimati Radharani. So Gaudiyas means worshippers of Srimati Radharani. But we find that Srila Prabhupada understood that we are not in a position fully qualified and pure enough to worship Radharani. So we first um, worship the lotus feet of Krishna. And we worship Radha and Krishna together, not just Srimati Radharani, but Radha and Krishna together. But Gaudiyas are more inclined towards Srimati Radharani. Sripada Indra Prabhu, in a very joking way, he would say that when you join the ISKCON movement, the the philosophy that we carry is Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas. That we have to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And then Sripada Indra Prabhu said, but when you become fully pure and when you go back home back to Godhead, you understand that the Gaudiya mood is Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasi Dasi Anudasi. Because all of us are servants of Srimati Radharani. So we are all servants of the gopis of Vrindavan. So Dasi, Dasi, Anudasi. So Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur also said this, that Gaudiyas are worshippers of Radharani and we offer respects to Krishna also. So there is a difference in mood. So here we find Krishna is fully subservient to the lotus feet of Radharani. Sab smara garal khandanam mama shirasi mandanam dehi pada pallavam udharam radhe dehi pada pallavam udharam. In the Gita Govind also we find the same point is made. Srila Jayadev Goswami, who lived 1,000 years in the past, he saw a pastime in his meditation. And that pastime was Krishna is keeping his head at the lotus feet of Radharani. So Jayadev Goswami thought to himself, how can I write this? Because this is 1,000 years in the past. And no one had ever thought of कि भगवान अपना मस्तक किन्हीं और के लिए कैसे झुका सकते हैं. So he thought, if I write this, the society will ostracize me. The society will condemn me. समाज तू तू करेगा because the society will not accept me if I write this. But he saw this in meditation. So he was thinking to himself, I know this is a reality. I know Krishna offers his head at the lotus feet of Radharani, but how do I write this? So, long story short, when Jayadev Goswami had this thought, Prabhu Jagannath himself came and wrote this verse. Krishna or Jagannath himself came and wrote this verse. Mara Garala Khandana Mama Shirasi. Mama Shirasi. I keep my head. Jagannath is writing. Mama Shirasi Mandanam. I keep my head at the lotus feet of Radharani. Dehi Pada Pallavu Udhara. So there is no ambiguity that Krishna is Bhagavan, but that Bhagavan is also um, tied by the love, pure love of Srimati Radharani. And that Srimati Radharani's lotus feet is what we aspire for. So now the point arises, Krishna learned so much from Vishaka Sakhi. How to serve Radharani, how to braid her hair, how to iron the clothes, how to store the clothes, how to change the complexion, this, that, everything he learned from Srimati Vishaka Sakhi. Now that same Krishna is coming as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And what is Vishaka Sakhi coming as? Ramananda Rai. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again wants to understand Radha Bhava Dviti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He wants to understand Radha Bhav. He wants to understand the mood of Srimati Radharani. Because that is the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's avatar. So as Krishna, when he had to understand this about Srimati Radharani, he went to Vishaka Sakhi. And now similarly, as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when he wants to understand Radha Bhav, he's again going to Vishaka Sakhi, who is Ramananda Rai. So Krishna Lila connects to Gaura Lila. And now that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who already knows all this, when Pradyumna Mishra is coming, he says, no, no, go to Ramananda Rai. Because I myself, I learned from Sri Ramananda Rai. So we find this that time and again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has lot of love, lot of appreciation and affection um, for Sri Ramananda Rai. A spiritually advanced person authorized to act as a guru speaks as the Supreme Lord dictates from within. His words must be accepted as the direct words of the Supreme Lord in the Parampara system. Lord Chaitanya said, Ramananda Rai, just give me a second here, devotee. Lord Chaitanya said, Ramananda Rai is a mine of humility. So he has attributed his own words to another's intelligence. This is a natural characteristic of advanced devotees. They do not speak of their qualities. जो शुद्ध वैष्णव है वो कभी मैं नहीं करेंगे. मैं करने वाला एक सिर्फ बकरी है. Those who are pure will not speak about themselves. And those who are speaking constantly about themselves are not pure. Who is saying this? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya wanted to demonstrate the glories of Ramananda Rai. Thus, he sent Pradyumna Mishra to hear from him. Pradyumna Mishra was a Brahmana and Lord Chaitanya was a sannyasi. Both of them have heard Krishna Katha from Ramananda Rai, who was a Shudra and a Grahastha. Ramananda Rai was not a Brahmana by birth. Hmm. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Brahmana by birth. Ramananda Rai is a Shudra by birth. Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. Ramananda Rai is a Grahastha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Virat Chudamani. And Ramananda Rai is a government official. He is working for the government. So between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is no similarity. There is no similarity in birth, in occupation, in every aspect. कोई similarity नहीं है. The only similarity that both of them have is Krishna. The thirst for hearing about Krishna. And that is what connects all of us. Both of us or devotees present here and myself, there is no connection. We are in different places with different occupation, with different family lineage, etc. But what's connecting us? Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita, book reading. That's what is connecting us. So it is the Lord who connects everyone. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda, the commonality between both of them was this thirst of Krishna Katha. Lord Chaitanya tried to vanquish the pride of so-called sannyasis, scholars, and brahmanas by spreading dharma through those who are considered low in the social status. He made Ramananda Rai teach about bhakti. He made Ramananda Rai teach about bhakti and rasa. Hmm. He made Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Yauvana family, the Namacharya. He made Sanatan Goswami, who was almost converted into a Yavana, exhibit the essence of bhakti through his writings. He empowered Rupa Goswami to fully exhibit the ecstatic love and pastimes of Vrindavan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is picking people from different um, walks of life. Haridas Thakur was also socially not very high, but Mahaprabhu makes him the Namacharya. Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, they were all working for the Nawab Hussain. They were all working for a ruler who was not very devotional. But Mahaprabhu picks personalities and then gives them a very high position in the Sampradaya. And likewise, Ramananda Rai was a government official, but Mahaprabhu learns a rasa tattva from him. So it's very hope giving that Mahaprabhu picks these personalities because Someone can criticize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by saying Mahaprabhu picked only those people जो अच्छे कुल से जन्मे थे या जिनका ऑलरेडी अच्छा गुण था. So someone can criticize Mahaprabhu like that. So Mahaprabhu is ruling that discussion out by saying he's picking those personalities who may not be coming from very good backgrounds. Why? Because where to take birth is not in our control. कहाँ जन्म लेना है ये हमारे कंट्रोल में नहीं है. जीवन में अच्छे गुण है, सद्गुण है, ये हमारे कंट्रोल में है. So those who develop good Brahminical qualities, the desire for hearing about the Supreme Lord, Mahaprabhu gives them a strong um, position in the Sampradaya. So it is hope giving for us because we may also not know where we are born and which family we are born, etc. But if we cultivate this mood of hearing about the Lord and chanting about the Lord and being in the association of devotees, then irrespective of whatever our background and our past is, there is every hope that we can also attain the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who has authentic knowledge about Krishna and ardent devotion for Krishna is fit to be Guru, despite one's social status. So, whatever the social status may be, if he knows about Krishna, then he has every right to become Sri Guru. Knowing the not just knowing about Krishna, but should also be realized about Krishna. There are many people who may know about Krishna, but knowing and practicing, and there has to be some realization to become Sri Guru. वरना तोता बनकर तो कोई भी पढ़ सकता है और बोल सकते हैं हमें भी कृष्ण के बारे में पता है. But there has to be some practice, some nice sadachar, and there has to be a little experience in the heart. Say Krishna Tattva Veti, say Guru Hoy. Chaitanya Charitamrita explains those who know Krishna Tattva, say Guru Hoy. They can become Sri Guru. But oftentimes we find that this world, by seeing the social status and seeing where the person has been born, people judge and people decide. Because that's what Prabhupada also had a big time problem when Indians saw the American disciples, and sometimes they were even sannyasis. Many of them had a problem thinking, how can an American become a guru? Or how can a European become a guru? Because the understanding that they had was guru यानी Indian होना चाहिए. But Prabhupada broke all barriers, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu broke all barriers by teaching the world that where your body is born is not very important, is not very significant. One may even be born in US or Australia or Europe or anywhere. But if he is genuinely practicing the path of Krishna consciousness and is chanting 16 rounds and is hearing about Krishna, is in proper good standing, following regulative principles, he has every adhikar to become a guru. On the flip side, there may be someone who is born in India but is not chanting, is not hearing, is not following regulative principles. Then, even after being born in India, we are no better than a Shudra. So, what makes us a human is not just the birth, it's our activities. To follow, my Guru Maharaj says, the four regulative principles are not bhakti principles, they are not principles of bhakti. They are the principles to get us to the human platform. यदि ये चार नियम कोई पालन करता है तो इंसानियत के स्तर पर आ जाता है. इसे चार नियम करना कोई भक्ति नहीं है. इट इज टू बी अंडरस्टूड, ये करना ही है. If you see Saraswati Thakur and Gaur Kishodas Babaji and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they did not emphasize on four regulative principles. Why? Because everyone was anyway doing it. सब anyway कर रहे थे तभी. मतलब बोलने की कोई बात ही नहीं थी. But when Prabhupada came to the West, he saw that the situation was so bad that he had to start with four regulative principles कि ये करना है. We see Rupa Goswami is not writing about four regulative principles anywhere. None of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is not writing because it was understood ये तो करना ही है. मतलब मांस भक्षण नहीं करना है, मदिरा नहीं पीना है, अवैध संग नहीं करना है. It's like understood, जुआ नहीं खेलना है. But when Prabhupada came to the West and he was there with the hippies, he understood, okay, you have to start from groundwork. तो कहने का यही तात्पर्य है, जो चार नियम है, केवल चार नियम यदि कोई पालन करे, इसका ये अर्थ नहीं कि वो भक्त बन गया. चार नियम हम पालन इसीलिए करते ताकि हम इंसानियत के स्तर पर आ सके. और भक्ति तभी हम कर सकते हैं जब हम इंसानियत के स्तर पर आते हैं. Bhakti can be done only when we are a human. And to become a human, you have to first follow the regulative principles. Just like people who give this example, a lawyer's son is not a lawyer. A doctor's son is not a doctor. A cricketer's son is not a cricketer. You have to work for it. Similarly, just because you're born in a Brahminical family um, doesn't mean you're also a Brahmana. You have to you have to have some symptoms. You have to demonstrate some qualities of a devotee. So most often we find people go by the external, saying, "Oh, American है नहीं नहीं ये शायद गुरु नहीं बन सकता." And many people have this conception. ISKCON means नहीं नहीं बाहर के लोग नहीं इंडियन ही होना चाहिए. But why? Anyone can perform bhakti. Anyone can perform Krishna consciousness. And in fact, we find in our movement we have a mixed blend that there are Indians also, and then you have people who are not externally born in India. And we have so many of Prabhupada's disciples who are so pakka in their Krishna consciousness that they are better than all the Indians who were born in India and are not performing anything. कितने सारे ऐसे हैं प्रभुपाद के शिष्य जो विदेश में पैदा हुए थे लेकिन ये तीव्रता से भक्ति किए हैं. इंद्र प्रभु है, शिला राधानाथ स्वामी महाराज है, शिला जयपताका महाराज है, शिला भक्ति तीर्थ महाराज है, शिला विष्णुजन महाराज हुआ करते थे. कितने सारे हैं दिग्गज वैष्णव. जननिवास पंकजांगिरी प्रभु है. बड़े बड़े साधुगण हुए हैं हमारे संस्था में. So we find that we should not go by the externals. No, I was yesterday only I was reading this, something in connection to what we are discussing. In no, in 1989, there was this one boy who was doing his MBA program, and he was from a Gujarati family born in Mumbai. So proper nice Gujarati background. And Gujaratis means you see they're worshippers of Krishna. Naturally, they are not into meat eating. Like Gujaratis are very sattvic. Most Gujaratis, at least, are very sattvic, wherein um, लड्डू गोपाल का पूजन होता है घर में एंड मांस भक्षण नहीं होता. दे आर नेचुरली मोर वेजिटेरियंस unlike we some other places. So he was Gujarati, already following no meat eating, no alcohol, all those things. And when he was small, his parents were connected to a certain guru. So he would attend that guru and he would get connected to that guru and all those things. So 1989, when he was doing his MBA program, now he was like 22 or 23. At that time, he had one friend. So this boy's name was Ashok. Ashok Parekh, typical Gujarati, Ashok Parekh. And his friend was Dilip. So Dilip at that time, he told Ashok that no, there is one temple I want to take you. और बहुत अच्छा टेम्पल है, अभी हाल ही में बहुत चर्चा में है. तो आई वांट टू टेक यू टू टेम्पल एंड इट्स अ कृष्णा टेम्पल. सो अशोक से ठीक है, आई मीन एनीवे कृष्णा वर्शिपर, तो जाते हैं. So they went to this Krishna temple and it happened to be Chopati, Radha Gopinath temple. And that was the day when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was giving a class. So when Ashok heard for the first time, now Dilip had already heard. Ashok, when he heard it for the first time, he was like, wow, it's pretty impressive that someone coming from an American background is speaking and quoting Chaitanya Charitamrita and quoting Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So he was heavily inspired. And inspired to the extent wherein he wanted, it's a long story, but inspired to the extent wherein he wanted to take initiation and follow this path completely. And his father was a very strong person. So his father said, well, you have been brought up in a family where we are already worshipping a certain guru. बचपन से एक गुरु है हमारे, जैसे कुल देवता होते हैं वैसे एक कुल के एक गुरु है. तो you cannot give up that guru. Of course, Ashok, he was not initiated there, but he couldn't connect the way he could connect to maybe Radhanath Maharaj. He could not connect there. So he told us, Father, I am not able to connect there. And both are worshippers of Krishna. Here also we are worshipping Radha Gopinath ji. And the philosophy is same, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So it's the same philosophy. Allow me to go here. The father said, no, you should be here. You should, this is what uh, we have given you from childhood, and this is what we have taught you, and you should be to this guru, and so on and so forth. So finally, in Ashok, he said, no, I want to surrender my life, and I want to follow the footsteps of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. So the father, he gave an ultimatum. He said, if You follow His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and if you go that route, घर जमीन जायदाद जो भी प्रॉपर्टी है, प्रॉपर्टी में कुछ नाम नहीं मिलेगा. Now he came from a multi-millionaire background. His father was a big-time businessman, very rich, very rich. So much so that back in the day, so 1960s 1970s में घर में नौकर चाकर हुआ करते थे. तो मतलब बड़े अमीर लोग हैं. तो अभी उनका जायदाद और जमीन मतलब आप सोच लीजिए कितना करोड़ों में होगा उस समय. So his father said, if you go to Radhanath Maharaj, you will not get anything from family thing. But if you stay to our whatever we have taught you, this so and so guru, then ये सब कुछ मिल जाएगा. So now you're torn in a situation wherein पैसा, घर, property या फिर शिला राधानाथ महाराज. He took Shila Radhanath Maharaj. He gave up his family. Whatever was there, वहां जो भी था, he gave up everything. Coming from a multi-millionaire background. Um, and then he went to Shila Radhanath Maharaj for Diksha. That Ashok became the very popular Anand Vrindavan Prabhu in our ISKCON movement. We have heard of Anand Vrindavan Prabhu, the one who focuses on chanting. So that is the story of Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. And then Dilip became Devamrita Prabhu, who is now Srila Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj. So Srila Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj and Anand Vrindavan Prabhu were kind of batchmates in their MBA program. And Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj pulled Ashok or Anand Vrindavan Prabhu towards Radhanath Maharaj. And that's how the whole story unfolded. So the point is, in Anandan Prabhu's life also, his father was not very willing because he felt Radhanath Swami oh, is an American guru. How can an American guru teach Krishna consciousness, this, that, Indian hona chahiye, etc. But we find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's principle is not like that. Yai Krishna Tattva Veti say Guru hoy. Those who know Krishna Tattva, they can become Guru. And we find it's been 2-3 decades, and um, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj is also very strong in our movement. And so is Anand Vrindavan Prabhu. And so is Srila Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. So, 2 points that we learn is one, we don't judge devotees by their birth or their external body. यार ये इंडियन है, ये विदेशी है ना. विदेशी भक्त भी प्रेमी भक्त हो सकते हैं और भारतीय भक्त भी प्रेमी भक्त हो सकते हैं. We don't go by the bodily, uh, we don't distinguish by the body. That's one. Second, it's very good to have good devotee friends. Very important to have. If you remember in our previous discussion, when we spoke about Gauranga Darshan Prabhu in that class, we said how Gauranga Darshan Prabhu had a friend called Nimai Lila Prabhu. And Nimai Lila Prabhu convinced Gauranga Darshan Prabhu to take up the path of Krishna consciousness. That's one example. In today's example, we saw how Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj convinced Anandan Prabhu to take up Krishna consciousness. So, if we are in school, college, or wherever, it's very important to have very good devotee friends because a good devotee friend can really pull us towards the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And at the same time, bad devotee association or bad association, not devotee association, bad association can take us millions of lifetimes away from the lotus feet of Krishna. Hmm. So, association is the key for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. So, having said this, we very humbly want to stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.